The fastest way to build wealth is to stop paying your hard working money towards other people. Yes, I'm talking about debt. Everyone loves the idea of compounding interest when it's working in our favor, right? The eighth wonder of the world. But no one is as obsessed about talking about when it's working against us. My name is Chris Wendt. I paid off $43,000 worth of debt in 13 months and built a multi-six-figure net worth. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5-step process I personally use to not only find extra money in my finances so I could pay off my debt faster, but then so I could focus on more valuable financial goals and assets like retirement or kids' future education. The magic dollar amount that works really well from my own personal experience and from helping others in their own personal finances is $666 a month. If we're able to find that, then that unlocks everything. But before you roll your eyes and oh, I don't have that, that's not going to work for me, let me show you the impact it can have on paying off your debt, freeing up extra time, freeing up extra money, and hopefully that alone will motivate you to help go out and find it. So the first part of this is going into the debt payment calculator. Okay, so as you can see, pretty standard here. We just have information that we need to enter. So the creditor type, the current balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payments. Okay, so if we just have these 4 things, we're able to at least see the impact of what could possibly happen, right? So these are just example numbers: car loan, student loan, 2 credit cards. Okay, our current balance is $55,000 and our minimum payment right now is $525. So if we simply scroll down in this payment calculator, and by the way, all of these resources can be found for free in my personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. It's linked in the bio of my YouTube channel. But if we go back to this payment calculator here, monthly payment, this is important because this is basically saying how much are you going to be paying towards your debt. So let's pretend that we are, good boys and girls, and we're going to be paying the minimum payment like we're supposed to, right? We're going to pay the minimum payment. We scroll down here. This is now where we can start to see the magic happen. So this is the calculator part of the debt payment calculator. As you can see, there's some similar information here. So the creditor type, the original balance, but now we have some new fields, and this is where it gets interesting. We have interest paid, months to pay off, and then the date associated with that, because who knows what 320 months from now is, right? Nobody knows that. So if we were to have this exact example here, we're paying the minimum payments. Our debt-free date, I'm recording this in 2026, is March 2055. That's basically 30 years of being in debt. The amount of interest that we'd be paying on that is $128,000. So if you look at the current balance, the amount of debt we actually have is $55,000, but the interest alone is $128,000. So we're looking at close to $200,000 of debt in the 30 years that we're paying here. It's basically a mortgage, right? Just to pay off a car, a student loan, and a couple credit cards. Pretty crazy. So for me, if you're watching this video, it probably means that you're very serious about wanting to pay off your debt. So if you're in a scenario after you go through this and you don't like the debt-free date, right? You're like, wow, 30 years, that's not good enough, right? That's not good enough. So what we then would do is say okay, well, let's play around with the monthly payment. Okay. And sure, maybe you could play around with, calling the companies here, getting better rates, whatever. But let's just focus on actions that we can take right now today that only require us. So the monthly payment, $525. What would happen if we added that special $666 rule to this? Okay. So I just wanted to, before I hit enter, remind you that the debt-free date was March 2055. The interest paid was $128,000. So I'm going to hit enter and we're going to see how this changes. Wow. That's all I have to say. The debt-free date went down 25 years, okay? And the interest paid went from $128,000 to $13,000. What would you do with all that extra money? What would you do with 25 years of not being in debt stress? How valuable is that to you? I would think that's pretty valuable. And why the 666 rule really works is, one, what I found is that actually equals $1,000 in 6 weeks. So it's basically, for most people, it's like 3 paychecks. So if you shrink it out like that, $333 a paycheck, or a pay period, right? If you have you and your spouse, or you and your partner, and you and someone else in your finances, that doesn't seem that hard now, right? When we sort of reverse engineer out of it. So hopefully that motivated you, and we're going to be going to the next step here in a moment, but this template also has a way to track your debt payments and a debt summary. So it basically just shows you like, hey, of the amount that you're paying here, how much is going to interest, how much is going to the payment, how much is, the ending balance, etc. And it's very detailed. And I made that for you guys, so I hope you enjoy. But let's go into step number 2. The next step here in the process is easily the most important. So in step 1, we looked at like, okay, what are the opportunities if we're able to find extra money in our finances, right? That's kind of a hypothesis, right? But now we actually need to see how we can find that extra money. You might be stressing out like, how am I going to find this $666, right? This process here, number 2, is the 3-month look back. And basically what we're going to do here is look back 90 days of wherever we've spent money, credit card, debit card, however you spent money, we're going to be tracking it. And to do that, we're going to be using this spreadsheet here. It's called the 3-month look back. As you can see, it's very empty at the moment. Okay. So what I have everyone do inside of my community is basically go to their bank statements, go to their credit card statements, copy all the transactions. Then if you're a fan of AI, which I am to speed up time like this, I have a prompt that's in the community. If you want to pause it and try to write it all down, you can, or you can just join the community. And basically what we do is I'm going to show you here because I already ran it so that way we could save some time in this process. We're going to give it this prompt, and I basically have it saying back like confirming what it's going to do. So you just read through this, make sure it makes sense, and then you just simply copy all the transactions in. You can see I did that already. And then it gives you just this nice, beautiful table of date, month, amount, category, description, which ties nicely into this date, month, amount, category, description, right? So I'm going to copy that into there, and then voila. And you'll notice that when I did that, there was no pivot table here, and now there's a pivot table. What the pivot table does, if you're not sure about like spreadsheets, is it just kind of summarizes all your data. So instead of having all of these like manual transactions and having to go through them and like figure out what the heck's going on, this pivot table will help you just like, oh, now all dining categories are here, all gas categories are here. And so this, little AI piece of it has saved people hours, because depending on how many accounts or different ways that people spend money, it's taken many, many hours for people to do this 3-month look back process. But now with AI, it's so much easier. People that go through this, they can go through 2-3 accounts in maybe 30 minutes for those 90 days. If they do this and everything kind of works out. And so what we want to do now with that information is we just take the categories, all of these here, and we go to the 3-month look back expenses tab. We'll paste them here into column A, expense categories, and then we go back and we take all the data from the months, month 1, 2, and 3. We just copy it right into month 1, 2, and 3. We copy it in here. Now what we have is we have a very clear picture of where we've spent our money the last 90 days. And again, this probably takes you under an hour to do what I just went through, right? The hard part is going to be gathering all the PDFs and stuff or spreadsheets for your transactions. That's the hardest part these days, which is great. What this is going to show you is the average amount of money that you spent each month in each category. So like we have just basic categories here. I kind of made this up for you guys just to keep it simple, but like fitness, gas, groceries, mortgage, restaurant, subscriptions, utilities, okay? And it shows how much we spent in each category in each month. And then over here, it's just taking an average of the 3 months. So you'll see like mortgage, okay, that's going to stay steady. Something like groceries will fluctuate month over month. Things like utilities will fluctuate month over month, right? You get the idea here. The whole point of this is just literally to see where have I been spending my money, because in this process, we're going to be going through basically where do I want to be spending my money. And again, if you clicked on this video, it's probably to put some of it towards paying off your debt faster. So that's step 1 out of the way. Let's jump over to step 2. Step 2 is what I call the North Star goals. Now, what we want to do here, you can use, a notes app on your phone, a pen and paper, a Google Sheet. It doesn't really matter. We just want to list out the things that are very important to us. So think life goals, financial goals, non-negotiables. They could be things happening right now. They could be things happening in the future. And you really just kind of want to narrow it down to, I'm saying 10 things here, right? But like whatever works for you. The idea here is like you don't want to have 50 things on this list, because in the next step, we're going to be trying to figure out how to move money from where we've been spending it to where we want to be spending it, right? So just for some examples here that from what I've talked to other people, like retirement, career advancement, savings, maybe a health challenge marathon thing. Expensive haircuts was what someone had on their list one time. So it could literally be anything. And the best part about this is it's your list. So who cares what anyone else thinks? It's just more like, what is important to me? Where should I be putting all of my resources? And yes, I talk about money specifically, but like other things like time, effort, sacrifices. Where do you want to be putting your attention? Because when we put attention to something, that's when things change, and quite dramatically, using my own personal experience through the personal finance journey. So this exercise is simple. It might take you a little time to like really try and think through like, okay, what actually is important to me? But I'll let you kind of think through that. It would be really helpful exercise if you guys wanted to do it right now and just think through it. Drop a comment with your, I don't know, top 1 or 2 North Star goals to at least accomplish by the end of the year. I'd really love to see what you guys say. Now, this next step is going to be combining the last 2 processes. So as you can see, this whole thing is like really building up here, and you need each piece to move to the next one. So we did the 3-month look back, right? We figured out where we've been spending our money. We did the North Star goals. We figured out where do we want to be putting our money, our resources, right? And now in this step, the realignment step is what I call it. We want to move things where we've been spending our money. So realigning money to places that we're saying we don't care about, to places that we're saying we do care about and we should be putting more resources to. So for example, if you have a health and fitness, and I'll just share the screen again so we can get back in the file. If you have a health and fitness goal and you look at this, you're like, wow, I'm spending $20 a month for my gym membership, maybe a one-off, like, I don't know, supplement purchase or whatever. It's like, but I have a health and fitness goal in my top 5 in my North Star goal. So like maybe, possibly, potentially, I should be putting more money towards that each month because I'm saying it's important, right? And on the flip side, one of the bigger ones where everyone's always shocked, it's like the restaurant, dining out, food delivery ones. Like, wow, I can't believe we're spending all this in this category. By the way, it's like 80% of people, that's the number one thing. It's like, wow, I can't believe it. That and probably like just Amazon shopping or like, internet shopping, I guess. So most people don't have food delivery as one of their North Star goals. Yes, it's super convenient, but when you really narrow it down, it's probably not one of the most important things, right? So then we're gonna be moving resources away from that category to another category. So how this would look is like this. And the 3 simple words that I want you to think through in this process are more, same, less. Okay. So more was kind of the fitness example of I want to be putting more money towards things that I care about. That's pretty simple. The same is something like, I don't know, utilities, where it's like, okay, it just kind of is. Utilities probably aren't on someone's North Star goal list. They're probably not that important, but they are pretty essential. We do enjoy watching YouTube videos, for example, right? We need that Wi-Fi, right? And then less would be the restaurant, dining out, food delivery example where it's like, ooh, wow, this is not that important to me and I'm spending like a lot of money here. So maybe I should possibly realign it. So that's all I kind of want you to think through in this process. More, same, less. And when we look at the average actual, we now over here in this column over here, the new budget amount, we just want to like estimate a new amount that we think we want to be spending going forward in each category. So the fitness one, it's like, okay, let's bump this up $50 because it's so important. Maybe we can do more classes at the gym, different supplements, other things, whatever, right? Gas, it's like, okay, pretty standard. So I'll just estimate like about the same amount. Great. Groceries, probably about the same thing. Mortgage, yep, there's really no need to like budget differently for that. Restaurant, it was like, ooh, wow, I'm spending $200 a month. Let's drop it down to $50 because I need to realign some of that money. Subscriptions, utilities, you guys get the point. So the whole goal of this exercise is the monthly savings that it's going to bring us, right? So red doesn't mean bad here. Green doesn't necessarily mean good. It's just a visual aid for you. So if it's red, it just means that our new budget amount is higher than our average. And in some cases, that can be okay, right, with the fitness. And the green means that our new budget amount is less than our average amount. And then anything that's white is exactly the same. So at the bottom here, it totals it up. Great. And now we have our new monthly savings amount. So hopefully, after going through this process, you're able to find that magical $666. But if you go through it and you're happy with it, and it's not $666, but you're happy with it, you're like, wow, this would be amazing if I could do this. Great. The step for you is over. If you look at it, you're like, man, that's still not that impressive. You can go through like the realignment step again, maybe the North Star goals step again, and just kind of refine and tweak. And by the way, these are projections, right? Of course, we haven't found it yet, but this is something that we are trying to do. And that's what we're going to be walking through in the next step. Before we get into the next process, the good news is you're never going to have to do a 3-month look back ever again. And I know it can be maybe time consuming, maybe stressful to look at, but now that part is done. So if we continue with this next step and you continue to do it month over month, you literally never have to do a 3-month look back ever again, which is great. So now what I want to do is share my screen and show the next file, which I call the monthly money overview. And once we've done this file, basically what we want to do is just take the expense categories and copy paste them and the new budget amount over to this monthly money overview. And I've done this already just to kind of save us some time. So like we had mortgage, subscriptions, fitness, gas, groceries, utilities, restaurants, etc. And I just moved them all to the budget line. So how this file works is it's using the zero-based budgeting strategy, which basically means every dollar that comes in to our bank account, we need to have a plan for it. And planning every single dollar makes the most sense to me, because if we know where every dollar needs to go, then we can plan accordingly for all the different expenses. Think of it like going to a concert venue. You have your ticket, right? Every ticket is actually like $1 coming in. So every time you walk into a venue, you have your ticket. Everyone inside the venue knows where you should be going because it's like an assigned seat. So we want every single dollar to be like a ticket walking into a stadium, knowing where it has to go for each month. So the total budget here is based on how much income we make. So right now, to start the month, maybe if you have variable income, you don't really know the exact amount. If you have a fixed, you probably know the amount. But let's just put the expected amount here. And then as you get paid, right, you just start entering your paychecks here. So the budget can never exceed the amount of money that we're either expected to make or that we did make. There's a couple other sort of summary sections up here remaining to budget. So it's going to look at how much is our budget, so $5,000, and how much is remaining to budget. So what that's doing is taking the budget amount, subtracting all of the budget amounts that we've already entered from the 3-month look back process, and it's saying, hey, you have $2,400 left to budget. Okay, leftover money basically means how much do we have left to spend. So let's assume we pay off the mortgage. It's like the first of the month or something like that. Boom, the leftover money goes from $5,000 to $3,000 because we no longer have that money to spend. And then you'll notice this here, actual spend, this is the amount of money that we spent. So we made the mortgage payment, boom, we spent money, there we go. Couple other categories here. So financial goals and total debt to be paid. So what we could do is go back to our debt payment calculator and just kind of copy and paste this over, and ta-da. And then maybe you have like an emergency fund goal of $500 a month, whatever. You could go through this, add your own categories as you wish. But as you start entering stuff, you'll see that things are changing here. Okay. And so as you start making payments towards a financial goal, for example, this will add up here. And then as you start making payments towards your debts, this will start adding up here, just to give you a quick little summary. And there are 12 months in here. So it's not only month 1, but you kind of want to keep going with this. That's the whole point of this process. So the idea here is taking the exercise, all the hard work, the sweat and the tears, right, that we just did, and moving it into this new process where now this is going to be like our week to week, month to month sort of one touch document where everything's going to be in this document. And how you would enter information going forward is similar to the 3-month look back where we have this transaction tab here. So whether you do this every week or every couple weeks, every month, you could do the same AI thing, put it in the table and just have it spit out here. A pivot table is going to form, and then you just simply copy and paste the amounts of the categories into the month and everything like that. It's very really quite simple. If you're just starting out, because I did just mention like, hey, you could do this every week, every 2 weeks, every month. If you're starting out, I do recommend setting aside 30 minutes every week to just keep track of the transactions, because one, if you do it every 30 days, we've lost every opportunity to, we'll call it, save that month and put money towards your financial goals. So this step here is going to be putting the steps that we just did in action so that we can find that $666. And then of course, I wanted to give you a bonus step. I said 5, we're gonna go over 6 things, because once you start going through that process, you're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be paying off my debt soon. So I wanna figure out like, what's the next thing I should be putting my money towards? Well, here's me trying to motivate you to think through putting your money towards more better financial assets and goals in the future. This is a compounding interest calculator, and it's going to show positive compounding growth, right? This is the happy stuff. This is the stuff that we all want, the sexy money growth. So let's pretend, for example, you pay off all your debt. You have no money in any sort of retirement or investing account. So you start basically at 0. Of 10 years of growth, an estimated conservative return of 8%. Typically, the stock market goes anywhere from 10 to 12%, but let's just be super conservative after, like, taxes, inflation, whatever. And then contribution amount, this is our nice 666 number, right? Our total balance after 10 years is $122,000. And as you can see, our total principal that we put towards it was $80,000, and the amount of interest that we made was 42. So it's basically like 1.5 the amount of money that we put. So what happens if we do 20 years? Whoa, that's pretty cool, right? So the total principal that we paid and the amount that we put towards it, so the $666 that we're putting every month, that totals like $160,000 of it, but the rest, $232,000, is interest. So it's basically just waiting. It's free money from waiting. And what about 30 years? Don't even tell me. Oh my gosh, we're a millionaire. We're a millionaire, an almost millionaire, $992,000. And the principal, the amount that we're putting to it, $239,000. Our interest is like triple, $750-something thousand. Craziness. And it's all because we exploded paying off our debt, get out of here, and now we're using that $666 towards a better asset, a long-term commitment. And this is assuming that we're not able to find even more money throughout our life, right? I mean, most people, their pay increases over time. Yes, expenses go up and all these other things happen. Inflation, yes. But over time, like in theory, we should be able to outpace inflation and any of those like expense rising things with our income. And if any of this sounds interesting to you, this is basically what I take people through in the 6-week money challenge, helping people not only, find extra money in their finances, get to that $666 a month, $1,000 in 6 weeks or more, but also build the system that they've never had in their finances before, so that they're able to kind of springboard, pay off the debt, and put that money towards better financial assets, so that you can, build wealth, grow your net worth, take care of your family down the line. Like, these are all the important things here. So I just wanted to run through some of the wins that have happened recently. Sandy, her and her husband found $1,200.22 hiding in their finances in 6 weeks. They didn't make any more income, and they didn't, have a tag sale. None of that happened. They just were able to go through these steps, and they found $1,200. Okay. Gemma never saved as much money as she saved in the 6 weeks. Never. So she's excited about the system that she has. And Kahisha, her and her husband, $1,320.43 hiding in my finances in 6 weeks. And this says crushed debt, but it got cut off here. But not only did she find this, she was also able to keep up with her debt payments and pay more than the minimum still, and save extra other money for another account. They were insane, Kahisha and her husband. Wouldn't it be worth it if you just felt secure every month and you didn't feel like you're in this cycle of paycheck to paycheck, right? I'm not going to say that you're going to find $1,200 or $1,300 like two of these people did, but wouldn't it be worth it to potentially just have that sigh of relief, I can finally figure this out on my own? So that's what we do in the 6-week challenge. If you're interested, there's a link below this video to book a call. You'll speak directly with me. We'll see if you're a fit, if you think that it's interesting to you, and if not, I can still point you in the direction to kind of get you started. So either way, it's kind of a win-win. You're going to figure out the next best action steps for you. Or if you just want more information, more details on it, there's a video talking about it right here.